We'll be doing a little bit of a Q&A in a little bit with some folks that are kind to join us for a little bit of a fireside chat. I want to acknowledge some folks as well. Katie from UBC and her team, thank you.
Thank you.
And Nicole from Troy Innovation Garage for hosting us. Awesome space. And it's just so great. We have from our team, Erica is here. Who's on our DevRel team, who manages our outreach, and Rachel from our strategy team. Tim's helping out as well, managing the levels back there. And I'm really excited to introduce one of our developer advocates. He works out of our New York City office, is an expert in Unity, will be leading the workshop tomorrow. I just spent the weekend with him and some of our team out in San Diego as well. So we're fresh off this awesome code jam, which we'll tell you all about, which is something I hope we get to come back here and do as well. But without further delay, Philippe Baba, come on up and give us an overview of Bose AR. Thank you.
Hey everyone. I'm really loving the vibe in this room. I see some very serious faces here. Hi, my name is Philippe. I'm going to be giving you a little bit of an intro into what is Bose AR. So without further ado, my clicker. Am I still paired up? Or do you want to So, my name is Philippe Baba. I'm an AR VR developer, and I'm a developer advocate for Bose. So, what is Bose AR? Bose AR is an audio augmented reality platform. We have a set of sensors in all of our wearables called, we have an accelerometer, we have a gyroscope, and we have a magnetometer, which is basically known as a compass. We also have gesture input on the side of our devices. As you can see here on the frames, we have the double tap gesture. And on some of our other devices, we have other gestures as well, like touch and hold and input. We also have custom gestures that we encourage our developers to make using some of the aforementioned sensors from before. So we've actually had some pretty creative uses for how people are developing some of these custom gestures, especially with the head orientation and acceleration and so forth. So one of our mottos is heads up, hands free. Now I'm going to kind of try to lay out what this really means. So if you think about typical augmented reality, you're most likely thinking of something like ARKit or ARCore or maybe like Magic Leap or HoloLens. Usually people are either staring through their phone or they're staring through a headset and they're visually getting data overlaid. Now the idea with heads up, hands free is that we don't want people to be necessarily staring through their phone as they're out in the world and they're experiencing things. We want them to kind of like be able to have their phone in their pocket and be able to get this data in an audio format. So, and there's a lot of actually really interesting ways that you can have this data flow coming in an audio format. And in that sense, you're not being taken out of what you're currently doing. So you could be walking around and you could be getting data coming in with spatial audio or GPS location data. It could be telling you this stuff without you necessarily, again, kind of being glued to your phone, kind of like staring down like this. So the Bose AR sensors in the wearable actually connect to your mobile phone. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to leverage the full capabilities of your mobile device, and you might, such as GPS that's already on your smartphone, but then we have those extra set of sensors on the wearable as well. So the wearable pairs with Bluetooth to your mobile phone, and then that's where the data flows. So next up, I'm going to talk about a little bit about which products support Bose AR. So we have the frames, which some of you may have already heard about or have seen or have tried some of the demos for. And yeah, I'm just going to play a little bit of a video and show you about the frames. I really like this song, so it's really happy with that right. Super cool product. And yeah, so next up we have the QC35s. Now this product you might already be familiar with. This is the flagship noise canceling product that you might have seen in an airplane, or you see people on the street walking around. So people are buying these products as for their sound quality, for their noise canceling capabilities. But not a lot of people actually know that the QC35-2s also have Bose AR enabled sensors in them. So all of the heads-up hands-free applications also work with the QC35-2s. And then we have the new flagship noise canceling product, the NC700s, which just got released this month. And yeah, this is my personal everyday carry. I love these headphones. They're a really nice upgrade over the QC35s. And yeah, next up I'll just play a video and show you a little bit about the NC700s.
Text John, I'm on my way home.
So our promise is that we're going to have 1 million AR devices in 2019. So again, like this isn't just a development kit, these are consumer products, and they're all enabled with Bose AR. So these products are already out there in the wild, and you think about it, I mean, people are buying Bose headphones because of the sound quality, because of the noise canceling, but now in addition to that, we also have this platform that only runs on Bose AR. So our value proposition to the developer community is that these devices are already out there, and there's a huge user base that these developers can tap into. We have native iOS, native Android, and a Unity SDK. So if you're any of these types of developers, you can head over to our developer portal and download the SDK today. It's free and actually super easy to integrate. So next up, I'm going to talk about some of the apps that are out there, and I'm just going to kind of briefly go over some of these use cases as well. And we have some demos and some apps that are already released. So I'm going to talk a little bit about AutoCast, which we demoed at South by Southwest. So AutoCast is actually super cool. So what you do is when you have AutoCast on and paired to your Bose AR wearable, you can actually walk around with your phone in your pocket and locked. And what you hear is you hear like audio pings for points of interest, and they're spatial. So if you look in that direction and you look at an audio ping, you use the gesture, and it'll tell you more about what you're looking at, and you can actually enter that tour. And then when you go in there, then you're in the geofenced area. You can actually explore and kind of get a tour of the area. And then when you want to leave, you kind of also just use the gesture, and then you kind of go back into this user interface of pings. So as you're going around, it's very unobtrusive. If you think about it, it's not like you're walking around and there's just information just kind of like talking at you. It's kind of just like a very slight ping, and then you kind of know, oh, there's something here, and then you look, and then you can enter it, and it'll kind of give you more information about it. Walk and Naviguide are also similar. So Naviguide is actually also super cool. It actually pulls information from Yelp. So you can kind of walk down the street, you look at a restaurant that you like, and you use the gesture, and it actually pulls information from Yelp, like the ratings and etc. So again, it's just another way of not necessarily having to pull out your phone. How would you look up a review for a restaurant? You would check the street name, check the restaurant name, pull out your phone, you type the name, and then it loads and it pulls the Yelp review. Whereas you can just actually look at it and just use the gesture. So again, without having to look through your phone. We also have some sport and wellness apps. So Golf Shot is actually already out on the App Store. So Golf Shot is already used by golfers, but the Bose AR features that just got released actually kind of allow you to get more information about the course that you're playing at. So you can imagine if you're playing golf, you might already be wearing sunglasses. So why not wear Bose AR enabled sunglasses, and they'll actually give you a little bit more information about the shot that you're about to take, distance to your hole, and etc. New Balance demo is super cool. It's kind of like a personal trainer app. So again, I like to think of it in a way like if, let's say, you have an app that's counting your reps and your sets. You're gonna kind of every now and then have to look at your app, or it's gonna kind of have to tell you. Whereas this app actually can count your reps and your sets, and it kind of gives you positive feedback if you're doing good. And again, it's just through the wearables. You never actually have to look down at a screen and see how you're doing. It's kind of using audio to tell you how you're doing. And Headspace is also super cool. It's a meditation app. It kind of like does this little intro where you kind of do a stretch, and it knows all of that using the sensors. And a lot of cool use cases in the future, I think, will be to create spatial soundscapes for meditation, so you can kind of be really brought into some of these environments. We also have some music apps. So Radar, we actually have at some of our demo stations. It's basically a spatial soundscape exploration app. This is going to be paired with the Creator tool that we have coming up soon. And what this is going to allow is basically, in the Creator tool, you're going to be able to create spatial soundscapes without any coding at all. You're just going to be able to put in sounds and create like sounds basically around where the user would be. And you can actually tag it on the map using GPS. So when a user is walking around in the world and they reach a certain area on the map, they can actually enter into a spatial soundscape based on that geofenced area, and that will all be powered through the Radar app. Traverse is really interesting. It's more of a kind of an experience where you're kind of listening to Elvis singing on one side of the room, and there's a piano playing on another, and you can actually just kind of walk around and listen for it, and it's all kind of spatial audio, and you really kind of feel like you're there. And iHeartRadio, I think, is also an interesting use case for heads-up, hands-free, which kind of allows you to switch radio stations, again, without having to necessarily pull out your phone or kind of browse. What you're doing is kind of like you're using the orientation of your head almost as a tuner, and then when you hear something that you like, you kind of gesture into it and you start listening to that. And next up we have gaming. So we have some actually really cool use cases for gaming, and there's a lot more games being built than these three that I have up here, but I like to talk about these three games because I feel like they are representative of the interesting design patterns for Bose AR. Now again, there are more different design patterns being developed, but for example, Overheard, it's actually a really funny game. So you play as an Englishman being taunted by Frenchmen in castles at night, but you can't see them, so you can only hear them. And as you're kind of looking around and listening for the taunts, when you find the direction where they're coming from, they start taunting you to attack them. And what you do is you use the direction of your head as a catapult, and then you use the gesture and you fire cows into their castles. And it's just like, it's hilarious voice acting. It's like very kind of like Monty Python-esque. One of the team members that built this game during the jam actually did all the voice acting himself, so I just think it's a hilarious game. And all these apps are out on the App Store as well to try. Comrade is also super cool. Again, it's another kind of interesting use case for Bose AR gaming. So it's an interactive story. It's kind of like a choose-your-own adventure game. So it's kind of like a spy novel, like a sci-fi spy novel, and you have choices that you make during the story, and you're using gestures like you could say yes, like nod, or no if the character prompts you to do something in the story. There's also at some point in the story, I think there's a shot that flies over your head, and you kind of have to duck down so that you don't die at that point in the story. So and it's all kind of like AI themed and stuff. So I also think it's like super cool. And Dead Drop Desperado is another really interesting game. So it's actually multiplayer, and it has kind of like some party game elements to it. So you play as like a cowboy cactus, and what you do is your friend puts on the Bose AR wearable, and you have the phone, and you're standing across from each other, and you actually shoot bullets at your friend, and your friend is dodging them by listening for them with spatial audio. And then you kind of switch off, and then your friend shoots, and then you listen for the bullets, and then it kind of has this competitive element to it, and a leaderboard, and etc. So again, it's kind of like a fun multiplayer experience. Next up, we have a little video from our Boston Game Jam that we held, and I just kind of want to show you a little bit. And some of the teams that built some of these games were actually at this jam. So yeah, check it out.
We're here this weekend at Bose's offices in Boston, and we're doing a game jam with their new AR technology.
We've given the developers a brand new version of the Bose AR SDK and Unity plugin. It allows Unity developers to easily add Bose AR integration to Unity-based apps.
They've built a very intuitive system for developers like me to be able to just pop it in Unity and just go.
We give you access to all of the sensors that are available in the device. The accelerometer, the gyroscope, 2 different rotation sensors. They provide orientation of the user's head in world space. We can actually provide spatialized audio, which just gives you an entirely new level of context when you're making any sort of experience.
We're able to get all sorts of different types of information from the framed glasses, which we can use to help develop new types of interactions.
We were challenged to create an augmented reality experience that put audio first.
It's very interesting to look at games from like a whole different angle.
Usually people think AR, they go, it's all visual, and this one, it's Bose, it's audio.
The challenge really made us put our heads together and be like, what can you really do?
There's a whole world of sound, and we shouldn't just be paying attention to just the visual components.
So we've had a lot of really creative ideas that the developers have come up with so far, and I think some of the more interesting aspects are the different game mechanics or the user interface experiments that they're doing.
The game we created we're calling Sonic Samurai. You're the samurai and you can't see, but there are all these monsters around you, and you basically have to use the Bose headset to determine where the monsters are, and then you actually use your mobile device as your sword to strike at the monsters.
It's a game where you essentially try to dodge bullets that are sent from one user towards you. Imagine the Matrix, but you can't see the bullets that are coming at you. You can only hear them.
Our game is called Overheard. You play a medieval catapult operator,
Catapulting poultry and cows at French castles.
You're doing this all at night under cover of darkness.
So you have to use your ears to hear where the castle is.
When you point your frames in the correct direction, you can hear the French defenders taunting you, daring you to throw things at them.
Your efforts are the waste of perfectly good livestock!
By turning your head and elevating it up, you actually modulate the angle that the catapult will fire at.
You are being bombarded by vegetables in a 360-degree radius. You can tell what direction the vegetables are coming from based on spatial audio. And you need to find and face the correct vegetable and eat it.
We're working on kind of a spy thriller game.
When you put on the Bose frame, you start to get radio chatter from secret agents. They start doing instructions to locate radar pings, defuse bombs, like James Bond and Mission Impossible in real life.
Duck now.
Augmented reality is really one of the most important future mediums for design.
We're getting the tools set up in a way that allow people to start experimenting, and using something like Unity allows that iteration to happen very, very quickly.
It's an honor to be chosen to be here to work on this technology for the first time.
And also give developers a bigger idea of like what's possible with this stuff so that they can use our games as like a stepping stone for what's next.
Here we are at PAX East 2019. All 5 of these games are debuting for the first time anywhere.
People are having a lot of fun here this weekend. Lots of people dodging vegetables and throwing cows.
I always enjoy finding new games that are innovative. I've never played anything just based entirely on sound.
I don't think I've seen anything else here that relies completely on audio and motion. No visual at all, but it felt really immersive and cool.
People are really getting a sense that the audio is real, spatial.
You felt like you were really there.
It's just a whole different experience.
It's more social. It really brings us back to where games really are, where it's with other people.
It's a fun ride in these classes.
We're changing the landscape of AR and games in America, and this is just a taste of what's to come.
That's very exciting for us to have that chance to impact other people's lives with the new technology.
The things that people are able to do over a weekend really inspired me to think we're going to see some amazing stuff this year.
And so we've actually been hosting these types of game jams, as Chuck was just mentioning. We just came back from San Diego. I actually have some preview videos from some games that are just been created. I mean, I'm talking weeks. And I'd like to share them with you.
Forest Grim Reaper Soulmates is an AR music game in which a singing Grim Reaper plays a song that responds to you in your world. Grim Reaper Sebastian is a character from another one of our games. He's tired of his dead-end job collecting souls and wants to pursue his dream of being a songwriter. Seeking inspiration, Sebastian asks you to let him write a song about your life. Using this app while commuting, exploring, or just relaxing. Through interacting with Sebastian and his song, we want to show players that even the smallest things in life can carry meaning. Sometimes we just need someone to talk to.
And yeah, I mean, this studio, they're really talented guys, and they completely compose their own music, and they write their own branching storyline and everything. And it's kind of like a companion app. I mean, I can think of it like, I guess it's like a audio Tamagotchi or something like that, but I guess Grim Reaper doesn't really grow, right? Yeah, you can go next. So this one we actually have at our demo stations here. I personally like this one. It's kind of takes a cue from Guitar Hero, but it's Head Bop Hero.
Head Bop Hero is a music rhythm game that is about bopping and grooving your head to the music. Similar to other rhythm games, you score points by staying on the beat. At the moment, we have about a dozen custom written songs. In the future, we want the possibility for players to download hundreds of songs or play with their own music library. We're going to play Party in the Washing Machine. Our foxy friend here is grooving along as well. You could follow it, and he helps you stay on the beat. The line below is showing your head movements. It also changes colors to indicate how well you're doing. So we really intend this game to be a phone-in-pocket experience. We added both audio and tactile feedback. For example, the high-pass filter turns on when you're doing bad. And your phone vibrates with the beat when you're doing great. So the idea of Hip Hop Hero came from us wanting to make a game that felt natural to play with the Bose AR devices. Something you can play while commuting on the train in public. The game was made by Brett Taylor, David Orr, Olga Andreeva, and Brian Herber. So let's finish the song and see how well we do. Three stars. Yes.
Of course he got 3 stars because he made the game, but I challenge any of you to get 3 stars on Party in a Washing Machine. It's hard.
I had a quick question. What if you like double time? What if you like dance on a quarter note, or you pause but then came back on beat? You know?
You can do it.
Really?
Yeah, try it. Give it a shot. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, you don't actually have to do this. The gesture kind of goes in either direction. It's kind of just taking the general acceleration. That's how the developer put it together. I suggested that maybe not everyone bobs their head the same way. And this one's also really cool. So this one you're actually making a song, but it also has kind of like a narrative in it. And the coolest thing that to me at least in this was I as a developer myself, as a game developer, like when I play something, when I play test, I try to break it. So I like just was going around everywhere trying to play samples, and I couldn't break it. No matter what I did, I was making really beautiful music. And the combination of songs that you can have here are practically infinite. Of course, this is like very early development. I mean, most of these teams only had a weekend to put some of these experiences together, but of course they're iterating it and updating. But yeah, check it out. It's really cool.
Bumblebee Jam is an exploratory, choose-your-own-adventure musical experience of layering song loops, set in a world where flowers produce music. Players listen, explore, and nod along to the music, collecting song loops like pollen in order to blossom a musical garden. The game is played by looking around to find new sounds, then nodding your head along to the beat when you find one you like. This process can go on indefinitely, allowing players to explore countless new ways of layering together song tracks.
And they composed all their own samples as well. So this is all original content.
Welcome to the garden, where the flowers here sing to each other. Help me carry their sounds so they can sing together. Nod your head yes to start. There are always 3 different flowers to choose from. Face forward and slowly look around, side to side and up. Nod your head to the beat in the direction of the flower that's making your favorite sound. To move forward without selecting a sound, face forward and nod your head. You can always double tap to reset. If you can't find any music, you can recenter your flight path by tapping twice on the side of your device. Remember to always face forward and just look side to side and up. Great jamming with you. Thank you for jamming.
I mean, it's really cool. If you think about it, in theory, there is so much information that can be laid out in space around you, and the amount of song loops that you can place and combine. I mean, I don't have a degree in math, but it's a lot of combinations. Yeah, I mean, like I said, all these experiences were built over a weekend by some very talented people. And all these experiences are going to be available on the App Store and the Play Store. So anyone that buys any of those products that I was talking about earlier that are Bose AR enabled can download these apps and play them themselves.